Tapping up.
All right. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, chorizo. Do we need to do a sound?
Yeah. Clap. Ready? We're good. All right, we're good.
We can't clap in unison. You hear that? It's like the wrong echo.
1, 2, 3.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Good enough for government work. We never finish at the same time anyways.
Never we do.
We're not used to
That's
that.
always a good thing, though.
If you can. Close.
Yeah,
I usually finish first.
3 times.
Okay, so here we are. We got John Gammons, Paul Haros, and George Osborne here, and we want to welcome you to the circle. We're tapping up now, so tap up is a phrase that we're using more frequently, that we can send out text message to people. It's letting us know that, you know, we're there, whether you see us or not. Somebody texts you, tap up. It's just to check in, make sure you're okay. Respond back, let them know. If there's something that you ever need, please, you know, reach out to us. And we just again, once again, want to welcome you to the circle. Paul, doing good?
I'm doing good.
All right, I had to point you out. So today we want to kind of start off with something. I came up with this kind of concept here where we're going to talk a little bit about faith and courage, how they mix in together and stuff like that. So a couple shows back, we talked about courage and how, you know, there's a lot of things that take courage in order to do, whether it's a conversation, being vulnerable is courageous, going into a building, doing a search is courageous. There's many forms of courage, but courage is not something that is in the absence of fear, but going through it despite the fact that there's an overwhelming sense of fear. And so today I thought we could talk a little bit more on that subject.
You know, it's funny you brought that up. I know things happen for a reason now. I was watching TV, and this guy comes on and he says, and then he pulled a stone out of his pocket, and he slung the rock and hit him in the head, and he went down, which the Bible verse is David versus Goliath.
Right.
Right? And when you're in this position here that we are, and we say the things we do, you have no idea who you're going against. So and the unknown could be multiple Goliaths, you know. So I think it's kind of suitable.
Right. It's the unpredictable of this, and not knowing exactly what we're facing, because we also discussed the own battle that we've been experiencing in our head when Brian Lehman was here, who's not here today, but the own battle that you know, you're competing against a force that knows everything that you know, and every time you adapt to a new fighting strategy, that it's learning with you at the same time, and you're still trying to overcome that. And that's the essence of concentrating and working a constant process of working through PTSD or the other traumas that we've experienced, from relationships to things that we actually experienced out on patrol. The fact of being cut off, because we did talk about losing the identity of what we believed we were, and now searching for something that we find out more. And Paul, you had mentioned how, as you're approaching the retirement, how important it has been for you to continue to engage in other activities that have brought you back, such as, from the motorcycle runs to the recruiting things that you've been doing, but also the physical runs and the 5Ks and things like that you've been doing. But that's a process that you've recognized, right? Is that better helping you understand things, or is that something that, like I said, you're finding a support system that way?
Support system. Well, I think getting closer to retirement and stuff, it's you begin your career, you're excited, and you progress through it, 5 years, 10 years, and then all of a sudden you're 18 months out, you're 34 months out, and now you've seen people go out in front of you, what they're doing, but now it's your turn, you're at the door, and it's like, all right, now it's time for me to step through the door. Am I prepared? Did I prepare myself to get to this point right here? Because a lot of people never really thought about it. They're going with their career, they're rocking and rolling, they're navigating, and then all of a sudden you look in the mirror and your number's up. You're like, I'm there. It's okay. Now what am I going to do? Is that fear? That's could, in some people's eyes, that could be fearful, because you have individuals in your department and stuff that have been there too long in your eyes, 40 years, 30 years. Like, all right, what's going on here? Are they not prepared to make that transition from the job or the career to retirement? Do they see that as, I'm going to be out in the pasture, just grazing and stuff like that? So I think right now I'm at a point where I'm trying to get involved. I'm looking, I'm preparing myself for that. So the motorcycle runs, I utilize the motorcycle. I got involved with the motorcycle runs as a way of generating some proceeds to give out to different organizations within the community and stuff for veterans.
And nonprofits.
They're not right. They're nonprofits, and then Wreath Across America, that was one that was really big. I don't know if you're aware of them, but it's a nationwide organization. It's an event that happens December 17th of each year, and it begins at Arlington National Cemetery, and it happens at the same time where this event is. They lay wreaths at the headstones of veterans that are put to rest at these various cemeteries. And there's something like 3,000 cemeteries all throughout from Arlington all the way to Hawaii. And we do it at Clovis Memorial Gardens right there on Villa and Herndon. And there's, I believe it's 3,000. There's 3,000 veterans that are resting over there. So my motorcycle run was a way of generating the funds to purchase the wreaths to lay at the at the grave sites of the veterans. And one of the things that I did with the department is last year I reached out to within the department is there's individuals in the department that are still active duty, as in the National Guard, as in the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy. And during this event, there's people in their Class A uniform representing their branches of service. And one of the things that I like to do is bring the agency that I'm employed with and reaching out to them and making them part of it. So last year we had 4 individuals, all within the department, that are in each branch of service. And I think that's really cool, because I try to put down that where I'm employed, we're very aggressive with veterans and stuff like that. So I think it's an honor to them, and not that only that you're wearing the uniform that we wear through the month, but they also wear that uniform still continuously through the weekends and stuff like that. So they're protecting the nation and they're protecting the community and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm involved with the motorcycle runs, and just all that is to prepare myself for when I exit. So I wouldn't, I hope that everybody that finds themselves in the position that I'm in has that exit strategy and stuff like that. It's like anything else, you have to have an exit strategy. If things, when you're ready to go, boom, I'm going to go here. It's just like going into a building or something like that. Everything you go into, every engagement that you're in, you always want to make sure there's an exit strategy. Things start going south, boom, I'm going to go out there. But in
That's
this
funny
way,
because I just wrote that down. You tap up before you go enter. Because just because you're going through the front door doesn't mean that's the same way you're going to exit. You have to have that other
Exit
strategy.
But that's interesting you say that, because no one ever thinks that when you retire and you talked about going up to the door and you're going to jump, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to mourn to death. You know that. It feels like mourning to death, because when they talk about identity, it's not necessarily, I don't believe it's your identity, but your career is a living, breathing thing, because it's something you put your energy into and your life into. And when that's no longer around, it's not breathing anymore. It's not being fed anymore. So you're going to feel like part of you is gone. It's like mourning to death, and that's what it felt like. And I think that's where a lot of people feel like they don't have a purpose anymore, and they're like dead inside. No, man, all that good shit is still in there. It is. It's not going to go anywhere. You're just going to not be able to sit next to the same people and do the same job. That's all that changes.
but your spirit will.
But your spirit,
So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
if you've been effective, you go in there and you've been effective, your traits will still carry on.
Bingo.
With the individuals that you trained, your traits will still be there. So you will still be there in spirit, and people will still talk about you. Hey, man, well, this individual, when she trained me or he trained me, this is why I do this. This is why I do that. So if you're an effective individual, which everybody is, when you leave, you're not gone. Physically, you're gone. Yes, you're gone. You're moved on. Spiritually and mentally, and through, you're not gone. You will never be gone. The agency and the profession of law enforcement will still be thriving on what you've given it.
But I think this is where we run into the disconnect of what I've been, as the converse. That's why I came up with the life after the badge and continue to do that, was because the disconnect comes from those people will remember you, but they won't reach out to you anymore.
Right.
And when you're out by yourself and you're away from that camaraderie, that's where those wheels start going. This is where faith comes very important, because it's in that time of struggle, that process of continuing to be positive. Because even the people I've spoke with that have retired based off time, couple of chiefs of police, again, I'm not going to mention their names, but we've talked, and the same thing happened. I thought, man, you achieved the epitome of what anybody can do, right? This is the ultimate holy grail. You owned it. And they said the same thing. Nobody calls me. Nobody ventures out. But the funny thing is, neither do they. That's when I said somebody has to bridge that gap. Why is there a gap, that disconnect? Because you made an impact. You made an impact on my career. I remember being with people who, when I was in the academy, they were range masters. And then the next thing you know, I was at the department with them. And then they were sergeants. And then I watched them become lieutenants. And then they're sheriffs, under sheriffs, blah, 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 chiefs of police all over the place. And they're experiencing the same thing that I experienced mentally when I was taken out. And that even though, and this is why I said it didn't matter whether you were a time base, which I'm grateful that you're going to get to go out on time. That is such a blessing in itself. And that you're preparing yourself. You're not ignoring, hey, I need to have something in place. There's got to be something more so I can still stay connected. And you've managed to network phenomenally. I watch you all the time. I mean, you do great. I wish somebody had gone back and there were people teaching us to do this at the academy level before, so that you could spend your career planning, because in essence, for me and John, things got cut short. And when it's unexpected, it's like, wow. It's like somebody yanking your chain. You're that dog and you hit the back of the chain, and all of a sudden you're like, what the hell just happened? And then you're caged and you're looking for your owner. You're looking for that validation of something, and it's crickets. Maybe you get a week or two of people checking in on you, trying to find things out, but it's crickets. And that's, again, it gets scary. That's why I said, being in that struggle and realizing that there's people in your life that they're there when you're successful. And I'm going to direct this more towards you at this point, John. There's people who come at you when you're very successful. We're making the white sheets, you're in SWAT, you're doing the tip of the spear ship, okay? And then they're there. And then something happens. Whether you may make a mistake, you get injured, something happens, those people disappear. And then there's another subgroup that they'll be there when you're failing, when you're trailing, so to speak, but they're not really there with the right intention.
Oh.
And when you come back,
It's intel gathering,
right? See? Okay, so you get where I'm kind of headed,
I know
right?
exactly where this is going. Yeah.
And then you get those people. There's very few, and we're going to get round back to them. Those people that are there to support you when you're successful or whether you fail. The people like Paul, like you, John, other people in this room right now that understand where we're coming from,
Right.
and that they will be there to support us whether we're failing. And I said that up high because we're still processing, or we're succeeding. They're going to support us. But I want to address that to you, John, and kind of get your feedback on things.
First, I'll say failure. I fucking love it now. Like, I love failure because it's the only way you grow. It's the only way you get better. It's the only way you improve anything. When you talk about pain has a purpose, just like going to the gym, whatever. Unless you break down the muscle and tear it and you're in pain, you're not going to get bigger and stronger, right? Same thing in this struggle, too. I'm actually thankful for all the bad stuff that happened. I am. And I know that sounds weird to say, but without that, I would be so ignorant to the ways of the world and the truth about how people really are. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say I know how people really are. There are those people who want to somewhat see you succeed, but not quite, because you're doing something that they haven't done. They don't have the courage, or they just haven't tried it. And if they see you be successful, then, oh, wow, that sucks because I could have done that. Maybe their intentions aren't bad, but they're not exactly supporting it 100%, right? And then you have the other ones that just, I think Dave Chappelle said it best, man. A coward rejoices when the hero falls, right?
We talked about that a lot.
Yeah. Now think about that. When you hear somebody saying something negative about somebody because they failed, and they're smiling, you think that's a good guy right there, or a good girl? It's a piece of shit, in my opinion. You want to see people fail, but maybe they don't know that they're like that. So when you talk about narcissistic people, they throw out that term. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's too freely thrown out, because my response is, have you ever told them that maybe that they're narcissistic because maybe they want to change that? And everybody says no. Well, of course not. Oh, you just want to judge people, but you don't want to help them. Okay. So, and once again, so you want to see people fail, or you want to put labels on people. So what is that person really about? I think the more we bring this stuff to light and the more we're just honest about it, look, man, if you, like, we all have Facebook pages, right? For example, if I've got 5,000 friends and I'm trying to sell, something on there to support my kid going to camp, and I get one like and one purchase of a ticket, wow. What does that really say about friends, right? Right. And not that I've done that. I haven't done that. But I would tell you, go check my Facebook, but I haven't. No. But what I'm saying is, how many times have you experienced that where you've seen alleged friends supporting people, and the only thing I've seen is the opposite. And then we complain why people don't have each other's backs. I don't understand that. There's a reason that people are successful in this country right now. I'm going to tell you why. They have these clubs and fraternities and all this. You know what they do? They actually help each other.
Yeah.
And they help and they push each other forward, and they help, and they lift each other up. And we are the dumbasses that, we talk shit about the people, or we try to, all we get engages in the negative talk, and then we complain why we aren't successful. Because, or did you help them? Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. How'd you help them? Well, I told people about it. Did you buy something? Right. Did you do anything, an overt act as opposed to say something? I mean, show actual support. That's why now I tried a t-shirt business back in 2014. Seriously, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, sponsored fighters, did all this stuff, and I thought it was going to take off. And I can name on one hand how many people bought a shirt, just one shirt. Everybody had their hand out for free stuff, right? But nobody bought a shirt, and I was like, it was devastating. It was so disappointing that, because I saw people sharing, oh, this is my buddy, and this is that. Nobody wanted to pay for anything. And I'm like, I know how much you guys make a year. You can't afford a $20 shirt to support, and now you're making me feel like I have to beg for money. That sucks, dude. Don't put me in that position, man. So people started coming, right? Because I did print shirts for a while. And they're like, hey, can you print some shirts for me? I want to sell them. I go, oh, good luck with that. You know, because the reality side is, and then people would come back and say, wow, it's really hard to sell stuff. Yeah, I know, because we have that mentality of not helping each other. So if I see someone now, if they're selling something, a shirt, I buy it. I don't ask people for anything. You support by buying, right? Because I know that exists out there. You know, it just does. It may be that thing. I don't think consciously people know that they're actually hurting each other, right?
It goes. So it'll go materialistically, but it also supersedes into, I think, life struggles and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, I can't even remember how this happened, but you remind me of it. You know, it's a combination. I heard this guy did. You know, he had like 7 litmus tests for when people would come and talk to him to spread, in essence, gossip. You know, gossip is a killer. You know, and things like that. And it also coincides with a lot of stuff that Rotary teaches. You know, there's 3 basic elements for Rotary, but it's like, is it true? You know, is what I'm saying true, that the person you're handing it on? Well, do you know it firsthand? Because more often than not, this is something that was passed on from somebody else. Were you there? Well, no, but somebody told me. Well, what do you mean somebody told you? What did they hear it from? It's like
They
a telephone
say
game.
a lot, whoever they are,
Yeah,
yeah.
they just always talks, right? And then it's like, well, did you ask the person? The person who was involved. I don't know how many people have told me they were there at my shooting. I'm like, you weren't there. There were 2 people that showed up right away that were there. The rest of you all were on the outsides, but you weren't there. You know, you weren't there with it when it was happening, when it was doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, how do you do that? So have you asked a person, like when people said, hey, we heard you didn't get shot. You know, the rumor was going around. I'm like, well, fucking ask me. You want to see some bullet holes? I got a uniform, blood all over it. I'll show it to you. And then, oh shit, you really did? No, yeah, and then this is the other thing. It's like, does this conversation serve a purpose? Why are you telling me this? Right? Are we just talking shit to put somebody down? Is it going to serve a purpose?
Yeah.
That's where you said, well, did you tell the person they were narcissistic? Did you try and help them?
Yeah.
No. Why are we discussing this? Why are we even having this conversation now? Why are we having the podcast? Does it serve a purpose? What's the purpose of it? Okay, well, we know we got people who are timing out. They're not preparing like some people, but even when they do, the people who have timed out are saying, hey guys, pay attention, because you may have these thought processes, the honey-do list of traveling, of doing this, but when you get cut off, this is what you're going to feel. Those other guys that were, like I said, left on their good terms with their time, with their 35, 40 years of law enforcement, are like, dude, this sucks. It's not what we thought it was going to be. Prepare yourselves. How do we get that information out there?
They see the sunset, you know, and the and they're gonna sit on the beach and drink a beer. Well, that's gonna last for like a week, dude. And then what, right?
Well, I think part of that too is 25 years here. You know, that's a big portion of your life, anybody's life. You know, that's a third of probably a big population. 25 years you're gonna invest in here, and out of those 25 years, you probably say 15 of those are actually working, engaged. That's a big part of your life. You become accustomed to that. You know, as a human, you become accustomed, you become used to that, and then you step away, and now and I think that's a huge part. You know, the problem and stuff like that is not being ready for that. So you have to do things to get there. That way, when you cross that threshold, and you're on the other side, you can survive. You know, I would love to see, you know, hey, you remember so-and-so? She lived another 30 years. Right. You know, he's seen great-grandchildren. You know, she's seen the world, you know, not just confined to the 6,000 square miles of Fresno County. You know, oh yeah, I seen Kalinga. Oh yeah, I seen Shaver Lake. Oh, beautiful. It is. It's
Mendota,
beautiful.
baby.
Yeah, I've seen that plenty of times.
Skaggs Brig Park.
Yeah.
Living out in Skaggs, hanging out underneath.
That's not cliff diving, guy. You know, you go to Acapulco. But some people, unfortunately, they confine themselves to that perimeter. Is almost a cell, you know, in the facility and stuff like that. You know, you mean
institutionalized?
Institutionalized. You become institutionalized.
Wow.
You really do. You become institutionalized. There's a lot of things that we do that are almost like inmates. And
That's
stuff
pretty
like that.
deep,
You know, they're a lot of the same things that we do and stuff. It's programmed. You're programmed exactly just like an inmate say, "Oh, I'm on a program. I'm here. I'm going to program," and you're programmed. You know, and then when all of a sudden, okay, the job is over, your mission is over. Now you're programmed. Now you got to reprogram. So how do you to do that? Going back to saying, people are want to see you fail. Maybe they're just, a lot of people are just envious. They get high on that sometimes. To see you fail and stuff like that. But it shouldn't be that way. You should constantly encourage somebody to strive and be better, because in today's society, we need everybody to succeed. You need everybody to be inspiration for our youth and stuff like that. Because if we don't do that, if we're constantly, pushing each other down as a society, as a country, our country's going to go down. And so I believe in trying to, pat somebody on the back. If you fall down, boom, get up, dust yourself off. Let's move forward and stuff. Learn from your mistake. And, move forward. I had an incident a while back in 08 where I came across, where it was an unfortunate incident for me. And as it was unfolding, my phone, bzz, 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 and the other individual's like, well, who's that? And I go, well, and all of a sudden, like sharks and stuff, cars are going around. And then I get I never got hauled in and stuff like that, but I got told, man, people were coming downstairs looking for you on first floor.
The gossip's here, baby. Let's go.
Like I was some exhibit or something like that. I never made it that far. They had enough courtesy to cut me loose and stuff. But I was getting calls like the next day, man, they were looking for you. Like, where's he at? What are you doing down here? Why all of a sudden you never come down here? Well, I heard, so and so's down here.
Oh, he's about to fall.
And people wanted to see that. Like I was like going to, like an exhibit. Yeah, oh shoot, I'm gonna take my break. I'm gonna go to first floor.
Well, that
I'm gonna go see the new.
One of the
I want to see
one
the
of the
new
questions
exhibit.
we got from one of our viewers was like, "Hey, you do something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You make a mistake, an error. I mean, what's the deal with that? Nobody has grace anymore. It's like throwing the first stone, right? Who hasn't sinned? He throws the first stone. People, in general, it's like you said, there's blood in the water. Let's go attack. It's like piranhas or something. It's like, what the hell? You know what I mean? As if whatever the issue was, let's say you did make a mistake.
We all do. We all do, man. We all
Right?
make mistakes. If you haven't, then you're a liar.
You're a human.
Yeah.
And then to go through and not have the grace, wait, you knew this person, right? I'll use me as an example, and I'd like to get an example from each one of you. Again, I was shot, and people were questioning, wait, we heard you faked getting shot. I've actually had people say that. How do you fake doing that, first of all? Number two, what happened to the 10 years that you knew me?
Yeah. Exactly.
Was that ever in the realm of I would conceive George to do that or something like that? Would I ever conceive that, Paul, you're going to intentionally do something that is going to discredit you and discredit the department, knowing you? I mean, airborne, pulling people, pardon my French, that beep it with the rooster. All of these things, because I'm starting to get a little fired up. It's like, it's like, I know you, knowing John, I'm going to go and drag you, pull you by the back and get you out of a building. Gunfire could be hailing around. We're going to get there no matter what. But then you think I'm intentionally going to do something stupid. It was a mistake. And I'll own up to it. I'll take my lashes, so to speak, and do what I have to do. But why is everybody feasting and feeding off of it?
I think it makes them feel better about the mistakes they're making that nobody knows about, right?
Because they're not doing it. You know what I mean?
No, they're doing it. Just nobody knows about it.
No, I mean they're not doing what you're doing. A lot of people, they'll sit there and say, "Hey, that's cool," but on the backside, they want to be you. They want to be you. They want to be you. They want to be doing that. They want to, but they're just not going to do it. So when you fall down, they love it. They thrive on that stuff. Coming downstairs looking for me. Why would you be looking for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm some kind of zoo exhibit or something. All right, cool. I made a mistake. All right, I'm gonna for the next 18 months. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna have to deal with it. But people, and then the rumors fly out. Then they, oh, you didn't get shot. You didn't. This didn't happen to you. It's all. You're just trying to get. You just want people to, come to you and console you, or you want attention. No, it doesn't work that way.
I remember
stuff like that.
I have before I forget. I have to say it. When that officer recently committed suicide, and the first thing I hear is conspiracy theory on why. I was so freaking mad. I was like, how about just concentrate on the sacrifices man made for the last 10 freaking years of his life. Concentrate on that for his kids, for him, not why it happened or what got him to that. Because you honestly, you guys don't care anyways. Nobody cares why he got there, okay? You're not going to do anything about it. Unless you're going to do something about it, then yeah. But if you're going to just talk, then talk about the sacrifices he made.
But you can do 10,000 good things.
Yep.
And the one bad thing you do, that's the one everybody's going to remember.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, that's what they're going to remember you about.
And that sucks.
That's what they're going to remember you. So what do you do? You know what I mean? All right, you already know how everybody's going to do.
We bring it to light. We say that you're a coward if you do that.
But what do you do? As an individual, all right, so be it. Bring it on. I'm gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna put my uniform back on, and I'm gonna dust myself off, and I'm gonna move forward, and I'm gonna learn from that. The next person that does that, I'm not gonna kick them when they're down. I'm not gonna. I've been there. I've done that. I'm gonna help you up, dust you off, and you're gonna move forward with that. You're gonna move forward.
There's that one person's like, shit, I made a mistake.
Every mistake.
You're waiting for somebody else to make a bigger mistake so you can get the attention off me. Hurry up.
Everybody that makes
Exactly.
a mistake, there's going to be more of them. You're not the first, you're not the last, but you as an individual, get up, dust yourself off, move forward, and then people will see that and they're going to just, oh, okay, sure it hurts inside, it hurts inside, but all right, man,
So how would you feel if somebody, and this I think this is part of one of the culture issues with law enforcement, and I noticed this again when I started reaching out. When somebody did reach out to you, because of our culture of how we treat each other when something bad happens like that, we find ourselves questioning, wait, why are you being nice to me? You almost can't accept it when they actually do reach out.
Yeah.
And I think we need to build that in our culture. That's why when I call people, I want them to really understand I don't have an ulterior motive to find something else out deeper. Yeah. I heard that you fucked up, and I'm here just to let you know that I'm here.
I think you have to prove that.
And you have to prove that.
Because that's never going to be, you're never going to get over that. I mean, we're skeptical people, but with good reason. Okay, because we're investigators. We're cops. That's what we do. We don't believe everything we hear right away, right? So
look at you like,
you
an angle.
Oh,
really?
They're not your pants. I get it. You're right. No, that's. I don't think that problem's ever going to go away. But I know what you're saying.
Is there a way to over?
I think as individually, as part of the struggle, part of the battle, if you're really about something, you're going to fight for it. You fought for life after the badge, and guess what? Now when you call, people don't question you anymore.
No.
But you've earned that.
A lot easier.
So you're in that title, right? So it's just like anything else. People can't go and start doing what you do and expect to start off like Oz. He's calling me. I know what his intentions are. It's not going to start that way. They're going to have to pay their dues just like everyone else, man. So I don't think there's a way around. In other words, there's no way around the hard work.
No.
Because we had to be vulnerable. When I was calling people, like, what are you calling me for? Like, been there, bro. And then you're surprised when they call back and they want to talk about what's going on with them, right? I spent hours and hours on the phone, with people, strangers, and I've earned that. Now when I call people, no, I don't want anything from you. Just let you know I'm here. And people find it so weird that we don't charge them. We don't we're just doing the right thing. I don't think. No, I think there's no way around the hard work. I don't know. What do you think?
Got to put into work.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I do get something out of it when I'm giving back and I'm talking to that person, because it replaces those feelings that I still carry from when it happened to me. To know that I can feed into somebody else, and each time, although it doesn't quite heal, I feel like it strengthens that scar tissue that I know I'm never going to lose, but it makes it bigger. You know what I mean? That scar tissue's there, so I'm not afraid of it. It's not sensitive. It's ugly, so to speak, right? What you went through, that trauma, and to admit it, But it's like, okay, you want to see it? Here, I'll pull it out, take it, look at it. This is the truth. This is the scars on my brain. This is the scars in my soul. This is the scars that are deep. I'm sharing them with you so you can understand that right now you have an open wound, but it will scar. It will be okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get through it.
Think about it in this perspective too, and you have to really get your mind and wrap it around this visual. Imagine you're in the middle of the ocean, right, and you got a hole in the boat, and the individuals that are speaking or around you, are they throwing rocks in that boat to help it sink faster, or are they picking up a fucking paddle and helping you row? Who are you? Who are you doing to the people around you? Because you can look up and you know who's throwing rocks in that boat, and you know who's picking up a paddle and helping you row, and you also know when nobody's doing either. And that's the hole we talk about. That's the lonely, scary one,
Right.
because like, whoa, where the hell am I? But there's both sides of that. Man, you're going back to the beginning here, buddy.
Right.
Like you're bringing up feelings and stuff. Like,
So
Man.
I listened to this pastor Stephen Furtick, and I watch a lot of his stuff on YouTube and things like that, and he's talking about this one instance where, and forgive me because I'm not great with names, but they're going to go see Jesus. He's inside this hut, right? And there's so many people around there, and these guys are there, and this guy's sitting on a mat and he can't walk, and they're like, we can't get him through to see the people. I did a little video on it today, but we can't get through the crowd. And he's got this group of buddies, right? He's got a circle of guardians, and they're like, man, most people are gonna be like, brother, we can't get through. We can't even see him. How's this gonna work? Let's just pack you up and drag you home on your little mat. Instead, they go and they say, I think it was Paul, is like, hey, no. Here, we're gonna go around, and they climb to the top of the hut, and this is in the Bible.
Wow.
And they kicked in the ceiling.
yeah.
And they lowered him down on the mat. And then the purpose was, and the way the pastor presented was, it wasn't just the faith of the man that was on the mat. It was the faith of those guys that knew that no matter what, no matter how heavy this man is, if I can get him there, he will walk again.
Yeah.
I have faith for my brother's keeper. I will lower him down. I will do what it takes. I'm not going to let the crowd, I'm not going to let the naysayers, I'm not going to let the departments, the people, the engine that blocks us from me getting, or that path getting to that person. I'm going to make the phone call, and even though you're heavy and you might weigh something, I'm going to lower you. I'm going to get you where you need to be.
That sounds like the
man
first
walked
SWAT
out.
team, bro. That was badass.
Right? Isn't that? Talk about a tap up.
Yeah.
And not only did we not have an entry, we made our own entry and our own exit. He walked out the front door.
Don't have a door. I got
I got a
I'll
door.
make
I made a door.
Thinking out of the box.
Talk
Yeah,
about
I love that.
powerful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just a powerful statement. And I love watching that guy because he's all ripped and yoked and stuff like that. And he talks about stuff.
Oh, you're
you
not?
know.
All right.
No, the pastor is just, he's awesome. He says, the Palestinians and this and that. And he says, and they're battling the cellulites. And you're like, wait, the
Cellular?
cellulites? You're like, he's like, yeah, at the gym. That's a
Yeah.
true battle too. It's just, he's so impactful.
Them carbs,
To
man.
watch them carbs. He did say, there you go, them carbs, So I think it's just, in all reality, you know what I mean? You were going to have to bash down doors for people.
Yeah.
And sometimes their own doors to get them to see and reach out.
Sometimes you got to remind people that how strong they are. Like it's like we talk about lifting people up, right? Like I tell them I'm not here to pick you up. Fuck that, my back hurts, But I'm reminding you that you can get yourself up. And who are you? Don't forget who you are, because I saw you solve problems and do stuff every day at epic levels, and you're telling me that guy, that girl doesn't exist? Bullshit. Get up. I'm gonna call you names for the next 7 hours. And what do you want to do? And they eventually get reminded.
Well, I think somebody can lean on you, but you can't hold them up.
Right.
You
can't
can't hold them up.
Yeah, exactly.
be
At
their
some point,
crutch.
you're going to have to be like, hey,
Right.
we're going to have to push through this, but I can help you gain the tools.
Yeah. I don't want to lift dead weight.
Yeah.
I'll grab you. Use them legs, man. Start picking
Help
yourself up.
yourself out.
Yeah.
So, wow.
You know.
That was pretty cool.
This is just something you like sitting on the toilet and come up with, like, It's okay.
Sometimes that's what the phone's
Hey,
for, right? It's a good time to
paperwork,
think.
Different kind of paperwork at the toilet, but I get it.
Right. And we have our first audience today. We have multiple people in here.
Oh, yeah.
Two. I'll count it as multiple. It sounds bigger. But,
Who's this blonde chick over here?
No, it's so, like I said, the funny thing is this stuff's out there. It's already been done. But it's like we were not kept from realizing how it can impact our lives. And then, like I said, our culture and the first responders has changed it so that we were taught, oh no, you got to go a certain way. You have to be quiet. You have to, you have to hold these things. You got to stuff it in. You got to keep it. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I realize that when we have a job to perform, yes, we got to shut up and nut up, right?
Yeah.
You got to go through the door. Again, that's where we get back to, what was it? The faith. The faith comes in struggle. It's a process of being positive when everything's going wrong. So that's different than saying, you can say, I feel like crap today. I feel sad. I feel this. But I'm positive that I will reach it to the other side. An obstacle course. You're probably more familiar with obstacle courses than anybody, right? You were positive.
I've been in my fair share of obstacle courses.
Yeah, let's talk about these, Paul. I want to hear this.
Give us some. You give us some meat and potatoes to go.
There has to be some
Get us your
adversity in
obstacles.
front of you. You're like, oh, you got to dig, man.
Give us something.
What you?
Come
Yeah,
on,
there's
Slim
been a
Shady,
lot of.
spit the lyrics. There we go.
There's been a lot of individuals that I've come across through my times, both in the law enforcement and in the military. One of the things is to identify it, to see that if an individual's hurting, struggling. Right. One of the things that when I was in the service is you're so jacked up on testosterone and stuff like that. When you see an individual falling to the wayside, you almost kick them down and stuff like that, And later on in life, now I've seen, there was a lot of things that I should have done. We should have done different. I think there was a period of time.
Can I ask you a question about that? Is the reason, and I'm asking this from your perspective, not from mine. Is the reason when we do that, and because we're taught that in football, everything else growing up, especially as men, that you get away from weakness. But is it because that makes it easier on you, and then you push forward? Because it's supposed to be no man left behind, right?
Yeah, well,
But then 98% of the time we're taught the opposite.
Because
we shout this, but we're taught to practice this.
I think back in my time, if you have weakness, you're not going to accomplish the mission. So everybody is instilled to be strong, to be like a lion. And there was my very last active duty unit. I think we had about 4 or 5 suicides within a 1-year period. Yeah, in my company alone. And it had become so frequent that you were like almost accustomed to it. And it became, the commander kicking down the doors. And I lived in the barracks. I was a single soldier, so I lived in the barracks. And when that would happen, the commander would be knocking down the doors, platoon sergeants kicking in the doors early in the morning. Most of the time is always on a weekend. And then they pull you out to formation in your regular clothes, hungover, drunk, half of you. And then you find out so-and-so committed suicide. Wow. And a lot of people just, saying different words and stuff like that. And we'd go in. I think the third time, our commander was just like irate. He was like, what the hell is going on? What's going on with you guys? What are you guys doing over here? And stuff. And the last individual that I knew that did something like that was on my last tour. Coming back, we had another individual that did that. He took his life, and on him, the signs were there, but we just didn't. We should have picked up on him. And he was an individual in my squad, and when we were in Iraq and stuff, he was doing things that just he kept screwing up, and we finally got rid of him. We kicked him to the curb. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I didn't see that was probably screwing with them a lot more. But then again, over there, we were, you're jacked up. You you're over there for a mission and stuff like that, and we didn't need that. We didn't want that and stuff. But all in all, now, you think back at it, should have been there for him.
Yeah, that was
should have identified the flags and stuff and helped him out. Not necessarily take him out there with us and stuff, but help him out. Hopefully, maybe he would have been alive today, or they would have been alive today. And even at work now, you see it now. I don't think I've come across anybody that's been to that point of like suicide and stuff like that, but they've been some pretty dark spots and stuff, So later on in my age, I've learned to try to help them out. Try to get them back up and dust them off and have them move forward and stuff and live.
I'm happy you're saying that. That's to me, that's an effective leader, dude. Because to own that as a leader, that's badass.
I want to live. I want to be alive. I want to live. And I'm going to do what it takes to live. To survive and stuff like that. And I as a human, that's what I want people to live. And survive and stuff like that. And those are things that I think about. A long time ago when those individuals were taking themselves. One of them, I think I told you guys the last time about the individual that this guy was solid. He was a squad leader. He was a staff sergeant. He was expert infantry. He was grad ranger school. He was it.
Yeah.
And he became an alcoholic. And they sent him to Fort Benning, Georgia, to an AA. I guess that's where the AA school was at, in Fort Benning, Georgia. So he was down there for like 2 months, and graduate from the alcoholic school. So he comes back. He comes back to Fort Bragg, where we're at. Comes back, and they insert him right back into the platoon. And what do you think we did for him that Saturday?
Got him drunk.
We got him at a 2-kegger party.
But that's the thing, man. But did anyone figure out why he became a sudden alcoholic? Because there's probably a deeper issue there.
I think he had family issues.
There you go. To me, that's the issue. It's not because that's what we do. We drink or do other things to kind of cope with those issues, right?
Yeah.
So the real issue is, why was he doing that? Not, okay, you send him to AA, great, he's going to stop drinking. But then you start talking about whatever his issues were. He's gonna pick that shit right back up again, because that's the trigger and that's the real issue. And that's why I used to tell, or I didn't make a lot of friends, but Jocko Willings wrote that book, Extreme Ownership, and it talks about leaders taking ownership of the failures of their guys, not pointing the fingers and say you guys messed it up. And that was why I was glad you were saying that. I needed to look out. I needed to recognize that's what a good leader should do. Like, what was going on? Because instead of just pointing out the problem, he's not performing the way he used to be. Send him over here and fix it.
Because back, a lot of the times
he's a
people
human.
were just doing what's the
Right.
program.
Right.
Or,
Program.
Okay, this is the solution.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, we throw him that 2-kegger, and everybody's over there just having a blast, and all of a sudden, bam, you hear the gunshot, and everybody right away, hits the ground, and everybody starts getting all tactical and stuff like that. And then they find him in his room, and he wrote the letter and stuff like that. I'm sorry, guys, I'm a failure. And naturally, we got the 3rd degree from our commander at that time, and then so now you got to go to his. He wasn't in my platoon. He was in 3rd platoon. I was in 1st platoon, and a month later, it happened again. Another individual took himself out, put a shotgun to his chest, and I still remember hearing about that one. We had this one guy, and he goes, "Oh, that weak and this and that," and people would just be laughing about, almost like, "Oh gosh," But now you think about it, and I can guarantee all those guys that were with me at that time, that were, we said one thing, and we probably thinking different now,
right?
Yeah, we failed big time.
So the funny thing is, if you go in to save somebody in the hail of bullets, right, and you go and you save and pull your buddy out, right, that's cool. What is the difference between saving his life going in the hail of bullets, or saving his life because he was drinking himself down the bottle, or because he's going to commit suicide because he's having mental issues?
There is none.
There shouldn't be.
Yeah,
And I think that the culture, the bravado that we've been taught and drilled into our heads. I remember I did have a really great football coach once said, "You're only as strong as your weakest link." And the thing is, people sometimes say, "Well, then shorten your chain." No, the chain has to be a certain length, and we're talking about real people, humans. We dehumanize ourselves, and then we expect the public to turn around and make us human again. No, we're doing it even to our own selves. Where if you're weak enough, it doesn't matter. But I'll go in and I'll save this person. I'll save a domestic violence victim from themselves. I'll save somebody. I'll go and resuscitate somebody who's OD'd. I'll go and do these things. I'll get blood on myself. I'll get exposed to all kinds of things that not even somebody attacking me to try and help save them and save my buddy. But when he's having issues at home, and then let's say even beyond that, then when we take these homes and we're not recognizing this own struggle in our own families,
Because part of that
because that's part of our chain, right?
is
But we're
progressive. Like, okay, so when you come up to somebody who's laying on tracks, or it's instantaneous. You kick in the door, oh shoot, boom, that's your natural reaction, right? I got to do this, But if it's you and it's progressive, you're not seeing it as instantaneous, and then
You're almost prying into somebody's private life, right?
oh, you're having a few beers tonight. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then tomorrow comes up, oh, you're having a couple more beers. I'll see you tomorrow. Not really thinking about it, right? The bullets are flying, just in a different form.
Wow.
Right? They're
That's pretty good.
beers.
Yeah.
By the time you get there to where, hey, man, did you hear about this guy? Man, somebody should have recognized it. Somebody should have seen it and stuff. Well, I really didn't see it because
we're
we're at work, everything's cool, but then he goes home or she goes home and we didn't see the progression. Go to the call, walk into a cell, you see an individual hanging, your natural instinct, it's instantaneous. So you're going to do it right then and there. That's what you're trained for. So now is to train is to see that the progressive, a couple beers, all right, that's cool, no big deal, right? Hey, let's go have a few of them together, but you don't unfold, you don't say anything. Is to try to identify that. You don't want to pry, hey, man, I don't want to be all up in your stuff all the time. I don't want to be up all in stuff. You need some privacy and stuff like that. But you have to say, hey, you know what, Paul? Check this out, man. I'm having a little bit of problems and stuff at home.
You're talking about breaking down the barrier to make
Breaking down
So one thing is we're rolling together, walking in a tier together, and you get into a fight, I'm going to jump in with you because it's instantaneous, right? It's instantaneous. Yeah, I'm not going to see that happen. I'm going to do what I have to do. It's instantaneous. But the other part is to be bonded enough with everybody to be able to jump in with you as it progressively keeps going on, because we didn't see it then. We didn't see the red flags. The red flag is thrown right at you if you go to a car that's flipped over on the road and stuff.
Right,
oh man, it's all there.
It's on fire.
Boom. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna handle it, and I'm a hero or something like that. But I failed to identify something, or I didn't see the signals. So that's what.
And we're taught as our individual to not ask for help, to hide it. So that's even making it harder to recognize because you can't share that. That's what has been perpetuated in our system. But I think if we keep
then to
educating
ask
people,
is prying,
yeah, and then to ask, you're like, wait, I don't want to because again, you're like, oh wait, you're weak, so I got to go this way and I got to disassociate myself. Oh, you made the mistake. Well, why did you make the mistake? Was it a lapse of judgment, or was it there's something else that's threading on? And then
do you really want to know what's going on or not? Yeah.
And I think at that point, if we start say, look, again, and we've mentioned this a million times probably, we can't depend on the department or somebody else, an entity to tell us this. We need to start recognizing ourselves, recognizing our culture, start talking to each other more, continue to tap up, continue to carry on those conversations and let people know, hey, I fucking care about you.
Maybe not the department, you depend on each other.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Each other makes the department.
That's what we're saying.
We are the without us, there would be no department.
No,
it collapsed. So,
like I said, when you called for backup, you didn't call the department. You called your partner. He was the one driving 135 and risking his life to get you, not some entity. And the entity is a meat grinder. It has to be. And we need to recognize that.
Yeah.
And we need to get people to really understand that as an entity, it has to keep functioning.
He's actually saying we shouldn't expect the department to rescue us. We should.
Yeah, it's us. And that's why when we reach out and we hit that resistance, the bodies that aren't going to let you get past to hit the hut, the roof that's in the way, that we have to kick in the roof and go around and say, hey, brother, I'm still here for you. The multiple calls, the John Gamez, I'm going to call you once, or text you once, you didn't respond. I'm going to call you. And then the third call, hey, motherfucker, I'm going to find you. Where are you? I'm coming to beat you. And you're like, oh, shit, I got to call him back before he shows up and, you know.
Just as long as they're not within 2 minutes apart or something.
No,
Yeah.
Like, now you're harassing me.
I
you know?
I give time, man. I give time.
He
But,
waited 3 minutes before he busted in on the shower on me.
Hey, door was open.
That one time.
But I'd like to believe that the profession. I'm going to just say the profession because the profession has a million departments, and this is worldwide. You know what I mean? Because the profession that we're in is not just here; it's all over the planet. You know, and is to recognize each other and recognize our when we're hurting. You know, and if I can recognize when you're hurting and stuff like that, you know, and you're willing to open up, then we can get through this together and stuff. And it becomes, you know, and then that's, again, I want to live, you know, I want to survive. So that's what you have to have, that attitude when you're spiraling down that's when you're starting to spiral down. You know, you got to say, you know, I want to live. I want to survive. I want to see somebody progress up and move forward. I want to see my family. I want to see that and stuff. Because I was in some dark times overseas and stuff like that. But ultimately, you know, I did some things over there that I shouldn't have done, and I probably shouldn't be here. But ultimately, I just like snapped out of it, and I want to live. You know, I want to, you know, I want to be here. So
I think we can be effective. What I learned too is it's hard to. You really have to be very specific with your words to get people to help. Be able to help. For example, you tell somebody to open up, shut down right away. They're not going to do it. But if I say, "Are you ready to trust your teammate, man? I got you. Are you ready to trust me?" Now I'm putting it on me, right? You're probably going to be more open and talking to me.
And I should trust you if
Instead
like
of
I tell
open up to
people,
me. Yeah.
like I tell people, like I tell people at work and stuff. I go, hey, if I walk into a you and I are walking together.
Yeah.
You know, we're chilling, we're strolling on the tier and stuff like that. And I walk through that door, I shouldn't have to look over my back.
No, not at all.
You know, to make sure that you're not there with me. You know, and if I have to look over my back to make sure that you're in there with me, then something's wrong. You know, and if you go in front of me, I want you to know that you shouldn't have to look over your back to make sure, hey, man, is Haros there with me? I'm going to go in there with you, you know? And that's one of the things that I tell pretty much everybody. If I'm right there with you and you happen to walk in front of me, trust me, you know, when that door closes, I'm right behind you. I'm an arm's length. Now, if we go our separate ways to do our little things, our checks or whatever, okay, so be it. But I'm in there with you, you know? And if you're hurting and stuff, you shouldn't have to look over your back or, man, where's he at? Naturally, I'm not going to be, you know. Right. But
that's the concept of not making people reach. I call them. If I have a rule. I hear their name 3 times, I call them. You know, it's a sign. That's part of being in the room already, and they don't have to look back. I'm already here. That's how I kind of take that. So I agree with you. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, pretty awesome. I think that, you know, to kind of round out this segment here, I don't know, is there any specific thing that you guys, each of you wanted to bring up that would correspond with how we can continue to be there and so be a support system for people, that they can reach out to us, that, you know, people have to realize they're not alone, that other people have gone through these things. There's been people that have gone through it completely alone for a very long time, but we want to encourage them to reach out to us, and we want to affect a change. So we're asking other people to step up and to start doing very similar things, to come at us with questions, come at us with comments, things they want to hear us talk about, so that other people can hear these things, like our viewer that gave us this response here to talk about some mistakes and errors and how things can get twisted up and stuff like that when you already know the person, right? And then how can we start affecting more people, like I said, in a change for the better, so that this the suicide rate that is just astronomical now for law enforcement, that we can try and get ahead of it, and that we quit looking to other people to be to answer the call for us, because we're the ones who answer the call, right? If we're the ones answering the call, there is no phone call for us to make. We've got to start answering it for ourselves. And I think that it's important that, and I'm grateful for people like you, Paul, and John, and Brian, who's not here today, and all the other guys, that people are stepping up to the plate, and they're tapping up, and they're being that support system. So, but last minute comments.
I think you just be about it, man. If you really, I just care about people now. Everybody to me is important now. Because what I've learned is no matter what I'm going through, somebody always has it worse. Mm-hmm. So the best thing you can do is just keep your eyes and ears open and just be available for anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. And just be about it. I could probably say a lot of things, but I think we can go into like 10 shows based on this subject. But just pay attention to what's around you and be a good person, man. Don't jump into the gossip. Jump into the solution. Be solution oriented.
I like that.
Just, again, I choose life, and that's what I want. I hope everybody would want to continue on living and stuff like that. And when they find themselves somewhere they don't want to be, or just didn't intend to be there, to look at, say, hey, I need to reach out and stuff like that. And I think this right here, coming out here and talking about it, has a spiral effect, has an effect on people, and people will start, hey, man, stepping up, step up to the plate, step up, identifying themselves and stuff like that. I've been there. I've done that. I'm not the only one, and this is hundreds of years, but you need to shed light on it. By shedding light onto the darkness, exposing that, people will come out. People will come out and say, you know what, hey, come around that corner, come around that door, open that door, and let us see you and expose you. We're not going to make fun of you. We're not here to ridicule, call you weak or anything like that. You're strong. You're still alive. Let's keep it that way, and move forward. But at the same time, be an inspiration of what people, you have to project that energy out there. You have to project that energy and say, that way people can gravitate towards you and say, you know what, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to her. I want to talk to them. I want to be part of that and stuff like that. And in this job and stuff like that, it's people unfortunately don't think very highly of it, but I think very highly of it. I wouldn't be sticking around for 25, 26 years and stuff like that. And I want people to know that's the way who I was. I chose to wear a uniform when I was 18 years old, and I'm still wearing a uniform right now. But at some point in time, the uniform will come off, and I'm gonna go on and move forward. But I want people to remember that this is something I'm proud of. This is something that I hold dearly to me. Or I put a great portion of my life into this profession, in this career, into this life, and that's what people to continue, and I'm here, if you want to talk to me, I'm around. I'm not too hard to find. People can find me everywhere.
He's the one guy smiling in the jail, yeah.
I'm everywhere.
And I know this sounds odd, but to say that your pain has value. Pain has an extrinsic amount of value, because that's where you grow. And pain can serve a purpose when you survive and you're able to help others, not only to survive, but then thrive on top of it all. And I think that's what we're getting. So at this point, I just want to thank everybody for tuning into The Circle. And if you you'd really like to help us out, please like and follow us, subscribe to the channel. That boosts us up for the algorithm so we can move into a larger studio. We're hoping to do that here real soon. It's giving a positive effect. Please make comments, share it on Facebook, social media, contact us. We love hearing your guys' feedback and knowing that, we do serve a purpose. And again, if you have questions, anything, comments, we won't mention your name unless you want us to. We'll gladly mention your name on here. But if you want to keep it secret, you can text us. You can DM us through social media. Call us. Again, I give out my phone number at the end and I'm welcome for anybody else who wants to, 559-304-4349. 559-304-4349.
I'm going to call him like 7 times tonight, dude.
And we hope that you guys come and tune in with us again. Thank you very much for everything.